Anyone else tired of watching children attempt romance? I am. Which is why we'll go over 10 romances in college or university. Number 10.
すげえ力入ってる。
Starting off the list, we have a newer anime about a multilingual playboy and a deaf nerd girl. A Sign of Affection follows Yuki, a girl who has always lived in a small and isolated world because of her disability.
外国人？え、なぜ？あ、場所聞かれてる？
One day, during her usual commute, however, she encounters Nagi, a tall, silver-haired man who is friends with Yuki's getter friend, Rin. Instantly, once Nagi takes notice of her condition, he starts making an effort to try and get into her pants, but things take another turn. When he realizes that there is more to her, he strives for love and changes her world from day to day, the closer they get to each other.
もう、今日会えたことが嬉しくて。
確かに何日か会ってなかったよな。
パジャマ。
Number 9.
いや、一人出てきます。お風呂くらい一人で
使い
入ります。
勝手がわからないだろ。それに小汚いから洗ってあげるよ。
Up next is The Ancient Magus Bride, an anime about a 15-year-old girl sold off to a Magus. Our protagonist, Hattori, finds herself sold for £5 million at an auction expecting the worst. Little does she know, however, the man who bought her has his own issues and is only looking for someone to simp over. Following the two's strange first encounter,
うつむかなくていいよ。背筋を伸ばしてしっかり前を見るんだ。いいね。
Hattori begins learning magic and eventually decides to enroll in college to hopefully live a more normal life. As expected, however, her life only gets crazier, making her realize how much she really loves the Magus. Filled with action, magic, and love, The Ancient Magus Bride is an anime you have to check out if you haven't already.
これはまじないの石。川底で自然に穴の開いたものでね。君を守る石だ。あげるよ。
Number 8.
アキヤくん、私、もうここがこんなに。
やめてくれ! If you thought the last two were weird, hold on tight because in this one, our protagonist lives every man's dream. Having lived his life as a worthless virgin, eventually ending up at his mom's house at 28, he begins raging. He wishes to have some kind of success in his life, only to find himself 10 years in the past before he started his career.
そうだ、スマホで。ガラケー？あ。
Now, with a second chance, he decides to pursue a different path in art school, following around some girls attending this college. With him knowing they are sure to become successful, he expects to just jump on the train alongside them. Little does he know, however, this will be the beginning of a love life he had never expected.
死ぬわけ？
動かないで、じっとしてて。くらい大きくなるんやね。
何が？
太ももやよ。
あ。
Number 7.
こんな感じかしら。
Entering the list, we have probably one of the weirdest concepts of love one can think of. Science fell in love, so I tried to prove it follows Imouto and Yakimura, two students studying science. With Imouto confessing her love to Yukimura, he is unsure how to react, having grown up as an absolute nerd, believing science can solve everything.
そうだ、雪村くん。
なんだ、氷室。
私、あなたのこと好きみたい。
Now, with him not sure how to accept her feelings, he decides to run various tests on himself and her to see if he is also in love with her. Whether it's him just wanting to spend more time with her or actually figuring out the science behind love, the show is filled with comedic elements that is sure to make you laugh.
ならこの状態が一番近いわね。しばらくこうしていましょう。時間が長ければ多くのデータが取れるでしょう。
それはそう。
Number 6.
寂しくなかったと思うで、そのクラリオンエンゼル。 毎日管理人が会いに来てくれ
I don't know about y'all, but the films about two characters with conflicting stories eventually falling in love always gets me. Josee, the tiger, and the fish is about university student Tsuneya and his dream of studying abroad. One night, however, he ends up meeting a girl in a wheelchair named Josee. At first, he tries to distance himself from her, but stops when he hears from her grandmother about a job offer as a caregiver. She trusts him to watch her after her granddaughter, thus leaving him stuck with Josee despite being annoyed with her bossy demeanor.
電話ですぐ帰っこい言うたわな。次やったらちょん切るで。
はい。
As the two spend more time together, Tsuneya's dream of studying abroad becomes smaller and smaller, with him just wanting to help Josee explore the outside world. This film is an absolute masterpiece that you ought to add to your list if you like series like I Wanna Eat Your Pancreas or Koe no Katachi.
そばにいたいって思ってた。ずっと。あんたなんかより私の方が魚の話ばっかするとこも。
Before we continue, what is your favorite kind of romance story? Ones with sad endings, happy endings, or even unfinished ones? As you comment, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay in the loop. Let's get back to the list. Number 5.
一般で行くのとサークル参加じゃ全然違うな。
まずはこれ読み込まないといけませんね。
To kickstart the list, we have Genshiken, an anime following introverted college freshman Kanji. With him being an absolute loser with nowhere to fit in, he stumbles across the otaku club called Genshiken. He thinks it will be a fun and accepting place, but he is met by a cold realization. Before he loses all hope, another member of the club introduces himself to Kanji, hoping he will give the club a second try.
一生オナニーだと人生の楽しみの半分捨ててることになるんだから新しい喜びしろよ売れるって気持ちいいの
As expected, he goes back in only to make new friends and realize he isn't as big of a loser as he thought he was. With him eventually befriending a girl within the club, you could only guess how it heads from there. Although this anime may be a bit on the older side, it is a hidden gem waiting to be discovered.
こへこ下手に出ても絶対譲らないあたりはなかなか大人の対応だったよ。さすが会長って感じ。
いやはや疲れたよ。
Number 4.
めっちゃでかい。
これタコマンボてかやるかなんか怖っ。
Earning itself a spot on the list is Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. During high school, Uzaki was a loud and obnoxious student who would regularly hang out with her upperclassman friend Shinichi. Now, with him having lived in the adult world for a couple of years, he has become lonesome and antisocial. For Uzaki, however, this is a no-go, so she spams him constantly over text, even going as far as to force him into following her antics.
もうちょっとだからおとなしくしろって。
Although he knows each day will end up with some sort of chaos, Shinichi goes along with her antics, eventually leading to the two to be recognized as a couple. Even though this isn't official, deep down, neither one realizes how close they actually are.
またお前か。俺がいるときは来るなって言っただろ。
冷たいこと言わないでくださいよ。
Number 3.
彼女ばかり見つめて飽きないかい？
たまたま向こうを見ていただけだ。私は彼女に首ったけである。1年前、一目会うなり我が魂をわしづかみにした同じクラブの後輩。
Earning its spot in the top 3 is The Night is Short, Walk on Girl. This story follows an ordinary student who hopes to one day get with his upperclassman, the girl of his dreams. Although he is madly in love with her, he is too scared to proclaim this, so he simply decides to stalk her and, coincidentally, bump into her. Meanwhile, she is nonchalant, believing everything in this world happens for a reason, not knowing what he is truly planning.
必要なのは待つ勇気だ。
そんなのは勇気じゃないよ。
人の心を読むな。
君は外堀を埋めているのが好きだよね。
One day, however, as he looks for an opportunity to approach, he notices her eyeing out a book. With hopes of this being the moment he needs, he decides to run into her by chance once again. Will he get to the book before her and connect their hearts, or will fate decide otherwise? You can only find out if you give the film a chance.
やっと厄介払いができた。
小僧神妙にしろ。てかなんだそれは。
Number 2.
お兄ちゃんおっきっき。
今年14歳になる俺の妹だ。
レ
悩みそうだにゃお兄ちゃん。そんな寝ぼすけなお兄ちゃんには。
As the runner-up on the list, we follow Uzaki, a light novelist whose entire personality is about little sisters. Yeah, you heard me right, he is madly in love with them, writing anything and everything he can regarding them. Despite this strange personality, he is still surrounded by a tight circle of friends who, unlike himself, are neither in college or have graduated. With each one of his friends and himself having their own strange issues, he lives his life as a novelist, barely making ends meet. Throughout the series, he begins to pull away from his sister's complex personality and gradually begins to find love. Although the series sounds a bit strange, you will have to trust me on this one. A Sister's All You Need is hilarious and has more in-depth story that can open your eyes to another side of someone living in Japan.
逃げたのではなく、ちゃんとおっぱいやお尻のことも知った上で、あえて下着を選んだのだと証明してみせます。
Number 1.
お父さん、いつもありがとう。はい、父の日のプレゼント。
おー、ありがとうみんな。
To finish off the list, we have Listen to Me Girls, I Am Your Father. Our protagonist, Yuta, is your average man entering his freshman year of university. Before this happened, his sister, Yuri, took him in as her own because their parents died in a tragic accident. Because of this, when she asks him to watch over her daughters, he accepts despite being reluctant. To make things even worse, his sister ends up meeting a similar fate to his parents, with their plane crashing and everyone being presumed dead.
子供たちをよろしくね。諦めず頑張りなさい。往生際が悪いのだけがあんたの取り柄なんだから。
Now with the daughters having nowhere to go, he decides to take them in just as his sister once did. Although this sounds like your typical sad story, this is only the tip of the iceberg, with Yuta being forced to figure out how to act as a father figure while balancing the lustful thoughts that come with having 3 girls in his house. Well, that wraps up the list. Let me know what your favorite romance story is from the list down in the comment section below. As you do, make sure to like and hit the subscribe button, as it's the best way to support the channel.